Okay, so by far, the most requested game, anything on my channel has been Streets of Rage. Legitimately, everybody requests some form of Streets of Rage. Sega Slayer, can you review Streets of Rage 2? Sega Slayer, can you play Streets of Rage 1? Sega Slayer, can we get a Let's Play of Streets of Rage 3? Sega Slayer, when are you gonna look at the Master System Streets of Rage games? You all want Streets of Rage? Okay, instead of taking all these separate ideas and doing Let's Plays and doing reviews of each game individually, I thought I'd give you one behemoth of a video, one giant Sega Slayer retrospective of the entire Streets of Rage series, excluding 4 because I don't own 4 right now. Anyway, not anymore. So I don't have 4 right now, and I have the means to record it. I just don't have it right now. And either way, the Wi-Fi thing on my PC is broken, so I can't record from it right now. Blah blah blah. Essentially, yeah. Okay, I decided to give you one big behemoth of a video. With that being said, I hope you enjoy. I'm going to do everyone in order, but I think I'm going to do the. I'll let the video explain. I've already recorded the video. You haven't seen it. On with the video. Hey Slayers, I'm the world's coolest Sega enthusiast, SEGASLAYER64, and welcome to the ultimate Streets of Rage SEGASLAYER64 Retrospective, excluding the 4th game because reasons that I probably already explained at the beginning of this video, but I don't know because I haven't recorded that part yet. That being said, I don't know how long this video is going to turn out, okay? We're going to be looking at every Streets of Rage game up until number 3 on the Genesis. So that means we're going to be looking at Streets of Rage 1 on the Genesis, Streets of Rage 2 on the Genesis, Streets of Rage 3 on the Genesis, Streets of Rage 1 on the Sega Master System, and Streets of Rage 2 on the Sega Master System. Also to mention, I'll get to it later on, I'm in the middle of this, I'm going to think about how I want to do this. Do I want to do the first 2 games, then do do I want to do the Genesis 3 trilogy first, then go to the Master System? Do I want to do the Master System ports of the first games on? I think that's the way I'm going to do it, but you'll find out. That being said, let's get right into this video. It's already going to be long enough. It's already 8:30. I need to have this up by at least 10. So let's just go ahead and get right into this video, and I'll be back with Streets of Rage 1. Streets of Rage 1, an all-time classic. This city was once a happy, peaceful place until one day a powerful secret criminal organization took over. This vicious syndicate soon had control of the government and even the police force. The city has become a center of violence and crime where no one is safe. In this turmoil, amid this turmoil, a group of determined young police officers has sworn to clean up the city. Among them are Adam Hunter, Axel Stone, and Blaze Fielding. They are willing to risk anything, even their lives, on the Streets of Rage. Good old Streets of Rage, the original beat 'em up. Not really. That's just it's not the original beat 'em up. I just say that, you know what I'm saying? One of the greatest beat 'em ups of all time. This game did so many things right, especially when you compare it to Final Fight. Oh man, I'm sorry, dude. I had to clear my throat right there. Yeah, but this game did so many things right, especially compared to certain Super Nintendo beat 'em ups that we won't name here. Final Fight. Yeah, but anyway, I always like to go with, first off, right, you're gonna notice this has a very interesting story, you know what I'm saying? And when I play this game, you have no choice of. Also, not to mention, I will get to that when I get to it. I'm getting so excited here. We have 3 characters to choose from: Adam, Axel, and Blaze. Each of them. Also, can we talk about something weird here? Why is it that all the characters, right? Listen, and this is something that I understand this is the first game, but listen, all these characters, these 2 right here, Axel and Adam, stayed the same in all the other entries. Why did Blaze change? Like, if you notice, she had a totally different look. Her hair was black, although her in-game hair sprite was brown for whatever reason. She wore a lot of red and stuff. She changed almost everything about herself in all 3 games, and I don't know why that is. But I always choose Adam because if you can see Adam, they all have their own special characteristics, and they're all better at one thing than another. You know what I'm saying? Or 2 things than other people are. Like, look. As you can see, Adam is best at power and jump, but has a B in average grade in speed. Axel is best at power and speed, but has a terrible jump. Blaze is best at jump and speed, but has terrible power. She's not that strong. So I like to find, personally, you could say Adam is the best between the 2, but his jump is terrible. But what do you need a jump for, really? So I guess you can say Axel is the most balanced, you know what I'm saying? But it always just felt like Adam was stronger, so I always choose him. So the first thing you're gonna notice when you first get into Streets of Rage is these are some great looking backdrops. Look at these backdrops. I mean, the beautiful night city is just it really gives you that gritty, hard, beat 'em up alley feeling. You know what I'm saying? And the music. If I just pause this for a second, you can hear some of this music as I turn my volume up. Listen to this. The overall grooviness of that music, man. If that doesn't get you in the mood for fighting, I don't know what will. You know what I'm saying? So you have one main attack. Because this game assumes you have a 3-button controller and there is no special buttons for the 6-button controllers. But this game, the first thing you notice is you have 3 buttons. Jump, your attack, and if you press the A button, a special attack that we're not going to use until we get to the boss. But you can pull off certain combos, like if you oh no, that's not in this game, never mind. But you can, and then you have a standard grab on enemies, you know what I'm saying? You can punch certain items here to grab health power-ups, to grab weapons and all that. And overall, it's just a very nice feeling game. You'll notice you have that fast, fluid gameplay that other Super Nintendo games really just did not deliver, at least in my opinion. Certain ports of games that probably should not have been ported to where they were ported. We're not where. Okay. But anyway, you have the game is. I think the one of the best things that Streets of Rage 1 has gone for it that a lot of people don't talk about is really just the simplicity of it all. And I didn't mean to hit that. The game is really easy to come to grips with. You know what I'm saying? You're walking around. You're walking in different locations. You're beating enemies up, and you're making it to the boss. Really, it's as simple as that. It can't get no harder, no easier. It's just a simple little title. You know what I'm saying? You're trying not to die, and then the amount of enemies you can have on screen is actually extremely good, because you know lots of 16-bit and lots of 16-bit, well, not really too many 16-bit, but a lot more 8-bit games of the past. This was an early Genesis game, you know what I'm saying, 91, same year Sonic, but a lot of 8-bit beat 'em ups from the past, there could be a limit of like 2 enemies on screen, maybe 3 if you were lucky, and this game can have something like 6 or something on screen, which is extremely fun, but it can get a little bit annoying when they do gang up on you from time to time. But overall, I mean, there's not really too much to say about the first Streets of Rage. It's a nice, interesting little start for the series, and you know what I'm saying? To be honest, I feel like this game is a little bit underrated nowadays, you know what I'm saying? Everyone still knows it's good. Everyone still loves the game, but at the same time, not enough people. I don't feel like it gets as much attention as like the later 2 entries in the game in the series does, especially the next one. We already know what I'm talking about, Streets of Rage 2. That gets, and when people talk about Streets of Rage, it's always 2 or 3. Like, legitimately, it's always 2 or 3, and 3 has because of its own reasons, and then 2 just because that's widely considered to be the greatest beat 'em up of all time. You know what I'm saying? Which, yeah, I wouldn't dispute. I would say it's the greatest beat 'em up of all time. A lot of other people would agree with me, but then there's some people who wouldn't, and that's perfectly fine. You know what I'm saying? Although I am starting to change my opinion and I'm starting to kind of think maybe Streets of Rage 4 has it beat. But then again, I'm more of a Golden Axe fan anyway. You know what I'm saying? So I would tell you Golden Axe 3 is the greatest beat 'em up of all time. But still, no shortage of, like, the graphics here are beautiful, right? I love the style, and especially, you see that Pine Pot logo? This game is... So, excuse me. This game is infamous for creating a... Oh my god, why? Can I get you, please? This game is infamous for creating a lot of pop culture references, most notably the Pine Pot Cafe and other things like that that you see in a lot of these places all over. And here's the boss. And also, can we just take a listen to appreciate the boss music for a second? Now tell me that isn't the most 16-bit Sega track you have ever heard. It's so freaking good, and it really gets you in the groove. Now here's the first thing you're gonna notice is boss characters are freaking huge, man. Some of these bosses in Streets of Rage games really freaking impress me. And first off, I want to show you what the A button does, right? And I'll just go ahead and press it real fast. Yes, the A button, and this is something that is exclusive to the first Streets of Rage game. As far as I remember, you have a special button that automatically does a lot of damage to your enemy, to your bosses. And if I remember correctly, you can save these up. You only get one per stage, if I remember correctly, and I almost always use mine. No, you don't technically, because you do have continues in this game, and you start out with 3 lives, and once you lose them, you have I think it's 2 continues you have, right? And I think, because there's not too much to talk about here in the first game, I think it's 3 continues you have, right? And there is a time limit to get to each stage, to get to the end of each stage. You can see you have, 40 seconds at the top? Yeah, to get to the end of each stage. You know, it's not hard. It's very easy. You know what I'm saying? But that being said, really, yeah, you just want to get to the end of the game, defeat Mr. X, and go on about your day. You know what I'm saying? It's just a top-notch, beautiful entry, and just a top-notch way to start Streets of Rage. Like, dude, listen to this song. Man, listen, Streets of Rage is so good at just making these great tracks that you just want to jam out to. You know what I'm saying? I don't know about you, but I could listen to that Streets of Rage twang all day. It's freaking beautiful. That being said, we're going to go ahead and move on to the Master System version of this game, which admittedly isn't too different, but I wanted this to be the ultimate Streets of Rage retrospective, so I had to include it in. But anyway, we'll move on in a second. First things first, look at this Sega screen. I love stuff like that. That's freaking cool. Now, the story's the exact same, so there's no point. Now, obviously, this was in 1993. Of course, you know, same game. You know what I'm saying? Same premise. Oh God, Blaze, what happened to you? Yeah, you feeling okay? Axel, Adam is about the only person who actually still looks about the exact same. Now, the first thing you're going to notice is this is a pretty nice port, right? And I also want to mention something real fast. And I'll pause this real quick. This game is almost exactly the same as the Genesis version. No, not the Genesis version. No, the Game Gear and Master System ports of these games are exactly the same. Only thing is, the Master System ports, at least the Master System ports didn't come out here in America. They were Brazilian and PAL in nature, so they only came out in Europe and Brazil. But the Game Gear ports were released all around the world. They're the exact same. Only reason I choose the Master System over the Game Gear is so you won't have a crop screen to look at. You know what I'm saying? With this, you have a bigger field of view than you do on the Master System. And first thing I want to say is, this game, for a 1993 Master System release, it looks beautiful. I mean, look at the vivid colors, dude. Oh my God, look at the colors. I mean, look at that Pine Pot logo up there. It's so nice. Now, the game, obviously, the first thing you'll notice is you have smaller characters here. And, you know, that's for a reason. You know what I'm saying? It's for the best. You know what I'm saying? It's so they wanted to make sure. Obviously, you don't expect the Master System to do the big characters like the Sega Genesis could do. You just don't expect that. And then you also have to realize there's going to be some limitations on the screen for enemies. Whereas, like I said, where the Genesis, remember, like I said, oh my God. Also, can I mention something real fast? For some reason, in this version of the game, they gang up on you a lot more, and they are a lot tougher. Look, I already lost half a health. How? Half a health bar already gone down the drain. But yeah, the enemies are a lot tougher, and obviously you can only, there's a limitation to what you can have on screen, and that's just to be expected. But for what, and then there's still limitations in some colors. But listen to the music. For the most part, it's intact. For the most part, the characters are intact. The colors are freaking beautiful. Like, I love the colors here. But the thing you're gonna have to know is this is a Master System, okay? It's not a Genesis. And you have to commend Sega for the effort that they actually put in here. Look at those colors, dude. Things are a lot smaller. Of course, the apple is a lot smaller. I'm not gonna lie, I have mistakenly missed it a couple times. But for the most part, the game is intact. It's exactly the same game as the Genesis version. You know what I'm saying? Just on a Game Gear / Master System, depending on what you're playing on. Also, there will not be prices for these games in this video, because that's just a lot. Well, maybe. We'll decide by the end. But yeah, the game is pretty much almost exactly the same as its Genesis counterpart. And also, you may be thinking, SEGASLAYER, well, how do you use the special little police button to call the police officers if there is only 2 buttons on the Master System? Well, it's simple. You press start, and you press A. It goes a little animation. And I wasted this, but I don't really care. Like I said, you press start, you press a little animation, and they come down. Simple as that. But for the most part, the characters are intact. The weapons are intact. Really, only thing you're getting is those smaller characters here. And the music is a little bit more 8-bit. But honestly, this game, and in my opinion, this game is more impressive than the Genesis version itself. Just look at the beautiful use of color here. You know what I'm saying? That color is what really gets me. The characters are nice and vivid, and for some reason I thought this had FM sound, but it doesn't. I mean, why would they build the FM sound? And this did not come out in Japan, but it should. I wish it did have FM sound. It would have sounded. Just imagine FM sound with the Streets of Rage soundtrack. It would have been awesome. But yeah, that being said, I'm just gonna try and make it to the boss. But yeah, the game is almost extremely intact. It's almost the exact same as the Genesis version. You're just getting smaller characters here. You're just getting more 8-bit music here. But really, really, that's it. That's the only compromises you're making. And when you want to use your little special attack, you just have to press start and press A. Simple as that. Nothing here too damaging. You know what I'm saying? Completely doable. You know what I'm saying? I would totally recommend it. You're not losing much here if you pick this version over the Master System, over the Genesis version. Although it is a little bit more slower paced, I should mention that. It does feel a little bit more slower paced. Like, the controls do feel a little bit more stiff here than they do in like the Genesis version. And oh my god, maybe there's more enemies in this version. And then you also have I also forgot the enemy limitation. That might bother some people. It doesn't really bother me, because what they do is they simply just increase the difficulty of the enemies. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not the guy who needs 8 enemies on screen just for a beat 'em up to be good, you know what I'm saying? It's completely playable. Look at the boss. As you can see, you still, for the most part, the bosses are intact. They are, like I said, he is smaller, but then even then, he's still pretty freaking big. Like, he's about the size of Axel. He's about the size of the normal Genesis protagonist, you know what I'm saying? So, while he's not huge, he's completely chill, you know what I'm saying? It's completely fine. That being said, I'm not going to waste my time beating him. You already know the game's good. With that, we'll move on with Streets of Rage 2 on the Genesis, and I'll be back in 1 second. Well, Streets of Rage 2, and I'll restart it because I messed up and didn't. I thought I was recording, I wasn't. But anyway, Streets of Rage 2, the classic 1992 Sega title. And first thing I want to notice is, I want to go back to mention this real fast. If you notice on the Streets of Rage 1 Master System gameplay, it said 1993 on the title screen, but you might be wondering, well, this one says 1992. Well, yeah, I found out the game was actually ported to Master System in 1993, although the Game Gear versions actually released the same time as the Genesis versions. Just wanted to make that clear because some people might be confused. Yeah, I found that out. But anyway, Streets of Rage 2, widely considered to be the best in the series. And I'm just gonna I'm totally not trash. Okay, way better than anything the Super Nintendo had to offer, at least in my opinion. This one has a better selection of characters, better graphics. You got Max here this time, who is the most powerful, has a pretty good technique, and he's actually a former wrestler. We have Axel, the returning protagonist of the original game. We have Blaze, who again changed her look. You see what I'm saying? I never understood why she keeps changing her look. And then you have Skate. Skate is actually Adam's brother, and if you don't know where Adam is, he got kidnapped in this version and again in Streets of Rage 2, and that's why he's not here. And these guys are on to go rescue him. But we're not here for the story, we're here for the gameplay. And the first thing you're gonna notice here, the game is a lot better. Look at the graphics here. Look at the major improvement over what Streets of Rage 1 had to offer. The major improvement of characters here. The characters are a lot bigger than what they used to be. Like even though then they were extremely good, the colors are a lot more vibrant and vivid here. Look at your character. He's freaking huge, Max is. Max is a behemoth of a character, you know what I'm saying? He's a behemoth of a character. And to be honest, this looks better than most Super Nintendo beat-em-ups. Final Fights. But yeah, the characters are big. Another big improvement is a second player can join in at any time now. Originally in the first game, I think you had to click two player from the main menu. You can still do that, but now any second player can just join in at any time. The first thing you're gonna notice is the time limit restarts, right? It's still here. You still start off with 3 lives, right? But the first thing you're gonna notice is that special button is gone and is now replaced with another special button like that right there that does damage to enemies. You know what I'm saying? And you can do a special cut. You can do a couple special techniques, and in exchange for that, now I wouldn't recommend it because in exchange for doing those techniques, it actually does take your life, which I kind of hate, to be honest, but it does take your life, so it is whatever, you know what I'm saying? And this game feels a little bit more like a cross between like something like Street Fighter and Streets of Rage. First thing you're gonna notice is the music here, man. Listen to this. Now, if you thought Streets of Rage 1 was the groovy Sega Genesis game, this is the king of Genesis music. The music here is so good, it brings a tear to my eye every time I listen to it. I have a few favorite songs in this game, and one of them you're gonna hear in a second, but personally, one of my favorite Streets of Rage track is actually in number 3, but we'll get to that when we get to it. Still, Streets of Rage 2 has the better music. Of any of them, Streets of Rage 2 is the best sounding one. The graphics here are, like, it's such an improvement over 1. That's actually crazy. The amount of improvement here over the first game is just outrageously crazy. I mean, the game is freaking awesome. First off, you're gonna notice, like I said, characters are bigger. The new combo system, which is almost like it gives me Street Fighter vibes mixed with Streets of Rage. The set pieces here, man. Some of these bosses are freaking awesome, dude. Like, dude, there's this one boss, and I forgot where it is, but it takes place in this weird, like, transparent room, and it's so freaking cool. The levels have multiple transitions in them, so you're not just walking through the same level over and over again like Streets of Rage 1. Which I never really found to be a problem, but some people did. Sega decided to have multiple, like branch off parts to the level. It's not branch off because you don't really have a choice. You go down the same levels every time, but there's different parts to each level and different rooms, you know what I'm saying? And we're just fighting Jack here. Another thing you're going to notice is each character now has their own unique life bar instead of being the same life bar for every character. If you notice in Streets of Rage 1, everybody had the same life bar except the boss. And now bosses actually have two life bars in lots of cases. And there's also a thing where now lots of the levels will have mini bosses. Like Jack here, he's not actually a boss, he's a mini boss. There's 2 mini bosses in this stage actually. Him and the one, what is the girl name? And we'll see her in a second. There's actually 2 mini bosses in this game. And first off, I'm looking because I know by heart there's a turkey in one of these things that completely No, I did not want to kill Max. No, I didn't want to do that because because there was a turkey in there. And I'm sorry, my throat is getting a little dry. I've been talking for already. Wait, what is it? I've already been talking for 22 minutes nonstop, so it's kind of like it's getting to my throat a little bit, but I'm gonna go ahead and power through this, you know what I'm saying? And oh my god, this is right here one of my favorite tracks, and I'm gonna turn it up here and I'll let you hear it. This is probably my favorite track from the game, but it's a tough contender with another track I'll let you hear in a minute. But this is like probably my favorite, and I'll let you hear it. Now that is what I considered. Oh my god, the bar section in this game. That's probably one of, if not the most iconic track from this game. Everyone remembers it. The people I'm friends with in real life. Even when they think Streets of Rage 2, that's what comes to their mind. Like, honestly, that bar track is just so iconic. But I don't know if it's my favorite. Because there's a tough contender, and I'll let you guys hear it in the end. There's a bit of a tough contender as to, like, what is my favorite. But still, I love it so much, man. I love it so much, and I look forward to this every time. Sometimes I'll just play the first level of Streets of Rage 2 just to hear that theme, and I'll go on. As you can see. Actually, I'm gonna let you know something. The bartender right there, he's the bad guy. I never actually sat here and looked, but there's a mini boss right here. As you can see, her takes her outfit off, mini boss. You know what I'm saying? Her name's Electra. She has a little electric whip. She's easy as freak. Nothing to worry about. But yeah, now you can see levels in this game. Oh, the improvement of Rage 1 is there. You know what I'm saying? Characters are a lot bigger. The bosses have a lot more health. More enemies on screen. Stronger enemies. Better set pieces. Greater music. Probably, like, this is some of the greatest video game music ever done. I would say personally anyway. You might not agree, but I do. We're just gonna take out the karate champ, who is apparently the boss of the first game. He's apparently a karate champ, and this guy used to give me trouble for some reason. I could never beat him, but I would never. Usually back in the day when I would play this game, it would literally just be for One time I remember the first time I beat this game, it was non-stop. I had one of those little at-game Segas, and it was freaking terrible. But it was one of the handheld ones, so I remember I was going on a long road trip that time, and I had nothing but time just sitting in the car, you know what I'm saying? And instead of actually playing my DS, which I could have been playing, and I probably did play for a few seconds, I charged that little Sega up for that whole day, the whole day before, because I knew I was going on the road trip, and I made it my mission to beat one of the Streets of Rage games. The one I actually ended up beating was 2, and I got pretty far in 1 before I went on to 2, and I don't think I ever did try 3. I did try 3 eventually, but I just don't mean I actually tried to beat 3 in that car ride, but that was a long time ago. I can't remember. Now, but look, like, you're gonna notice levels are a lot bigger. Now, with that being said, we're going to go ahead and move on to the Master System version, but you're going to notice that levels are a lot bigger in the second one. Characters are a lot bigger. Music is probably some of the greatest video game music of all time. Definitely a contender up there. I don't care what you say. You might not say it is the best, but you can't deny that this is on the list, probably top 5 for some of the greatest video game music of all time. It's too good, and this just completely wiped the floor with, Final Fight. But that being said, we're going to move on with the Master System version, and I'll be back in a second. This is already shaping up to be a pretty long video, huh? 1 year after the battle. Now, the first thing you're going to notice is actually, yeah, the Master System does have the graphics that the, that the Sega Genesis version didn't have. Now, this was also released in 1993, a year after Streets of Rage 2 actually came out. And we'll just go ahead and press the start button. Now, the first thing you're going to notice is 2 players gone, right? 2-player is gone. And another character that is gone, and probably what I would say is the biggest loss of this game, period. Max is missing from Streets of Rage 2 on the Sega Master System / Game Gear. He's completely gone. He's not here. And I don't know if it was just because he was so big the game couldn't handle him, or just there wasn't... If you notice, a lot of 8-bit ports of 16-bit games tended to do this, where they would cut the character, but they always seem to cut the best character. And I don't know why, and we'll just go with Skate here. But yeah, the first thing you're going to notice is... I'm going to say this now. I don't like this one as much as I like the first one. Whereas the first game was pretty much just the exact same game as the Genesis version. This one, because Streets of Rage 2 was such a big, like, hop up over what Streets of Rage 1 was on Master System and on Genesis, where Streets of Rage 1 on Genesis was not really that impressive. It was impressive, but it wasn't like that impressive at the time. It wasn't impressive, way more impressive than Final Fight, but it wasn't that impressive at the time. Even then, it was still like the Master System could still keep up, is what I'm saying. Is This is 1992 technology, Genesis stuff, and the characters had improved a lot. Everything had improved like tenfold in Streets of Rage 2. The Master System version, let's just say, can't keep up. Look at the game. I mean, I'm letting it speak for itself here. The game is a lot worse, okay? The characters move clunky. The characters are like, okay, listen, I want to show you something real fast. You see how small these characters are? These are the smallest characters. Here's the characters in Streets of Rage 1 on Genesis. Alright? Pretty big, right? Pretty nice sized characters, okay? But then here's the characters on Streets of Rage 1 for Master System. Size, still pretty much almost accurate. But then here's the character difference between Streets of Rage 2 and then Streets of Rage 2 for the Master System. These characters are utterly small. They're smaller than Streets of Rage 1 Master System characters. Why? Why? They did not need to be this small, and I don't know why. First off, none of the moves represent, right? You have to press A and B at the same time to do the little special move, but it's not worth it since the characters here are, the enemies here are so much stronger. Like, they're 10 times stronger. Like, there had to be 2 different development teams for Streets of Rage 1 and 2 for Master System. They came out the same year, so who developed what? Because, man, the port here is abysmal. It's so much harder to play, and the levels don't look the same. The sound does not sound the same. Like, listen. Are you telling me that's supposed to be the first song you hear in Streets of Rage 2? Because I would tell you otherwise. I mean, literally, it's so abysmal. First off, it auto-scrolls so slowly, right? The enemies are stronger than anything. Like, literally, they one-shot you. They can literally one-shot you. Like, these guys are like, look at that. He's taking so much of my health. It's abysmal. Plus, they can force you off screen, which I really hate, because if you had an item, look how much health I already have. They are killing me, dude. They're killing me, and it takes so much longer for you to kill them than it does for them to kill you. It's outrageously unfair, and really just, I don't recommend this port to anybody. It's abysmal. It's terrible. It's not fun. The music is terrible. The characters are too small for their own good. Like, literally, look at these characters. What happened to Skate? He has no face, okay? He has no face. The Master System port of Streets of Rage 2 is just a total dumpster fire. It's not worth your time. It's interesting to see it get ported, especially so late. It is interesting to actually see it get ported over, and I'm glad they had an effort, because, you know, I always felt bad for the guys who didn't get to move on, because, you know, I wasn't quick to move on the generations. Right? Like, I'm not gonna lie to you. It took me years. It took me years to move from the 7th generation to the 8th generation. All the kids had the fancy new Xbox One and PS4s, and I still was chilling with my Xbox 360. Well, not for long, about a year or 2. Then I got a Wii. Because I technically did move over. I got a Wii U. But then here's the thing with that, right? The Wii U got, like, dumped on so fast, and I don't know why I ended up choosing the Wii U. I just did. So I ended up getting a Wii U. So I did move to the next generation. It was just, yeah, nobody really cared about the Wii U. So when I moved to the next generation, I had moved in. Other kids had got the Wii U too, but it's like most of them had got the 360. Most of them had chose to get the Xbox One and PS4. But I'm thinking the Wii U would have been supported for a while, so I chose the Wii U. And you know, and so I always was happy when they did try and make the effort to port a game down to like the 360 or PS3, because lots of times the Wii U some versions of games on the Wii U were just better played on 360 or PS3. So I'd be like, why? What is the point of me getting the Wii U version if I can just play the exact same game? In some cases, better on Wii U than on 360. You know what I'm saying? So I never minded. I always loved it when companies put in the effort to to downgrade a game, and I really cannot get this guy. Please don't kill me. We got him. Okay, we got him. So I always did appreciate when companies made the effort to downgrade a game onto... There's Jack. There's Jack. Let's see if we can beat him real fast. I want to beat him because I want to see the little bar section. But yeah, I always did love it when Sega or whoever you are made the effort to port your games down to the lower end consoles, because there's always going to be people who don't move over right away. In fact, I still know someone who's on PS3 to this day. They still log on, they still play online and everything, still having a blast with their console. So I still know people who literally only own Wii's and haven't upgraded up from the Wii. You know what I'm saying? I think they upgraded to a Switch now, but still, you're understanding. There's still people who will stay on these older consoles till like the very, very end. And I always think you should, especially if you have that extra money in the budget, should always work on a downgraded port, because there's always money to be made, man. There's still people who play their PS2 today, like regularly. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, when Sonic, which is why I'm always sometimes I'm more interested in the, oh, let's hear it real fast. Okay, first thing I'm going to notice here is the song sounds a lot worse. Obviously, the place is purple for whatever reason. That being said, I really have nothing more to say. If so far, I'm going to stop and take a break. Well, no, I'll rate these all at the end, okay? I'll rate them all at the end. That being said, I'll be back in a second with Streets of Rage 3, the final entry on this beautifully long video of Streets of Rage. I'll be back. Streets of Rage 3. The game, I would argue, really didn't need to exist. And it just, I mean, don't get me wrong, right? And we'll get into this first off. Let's go ahead and mess with the difficulty. We'll go ahead and turn our lives up to 5, you know what I'm saying? This game... Oh, wait, I didn't mean to mess with the controls. I don't want to mess with the controls. No, no, no. Wait, what? Oh, yeah, okay, I didn't want to mess with the controls. This game did not need to exist, period. And we'll get into why it didn't need to exist when we get into the gameplay. But first off, the one thing I'm so excited this game actually did bring would actually be my favorite song from the Streets of Rage series the whole time. Now, if you're an avid Streets of Rage player, or you even had any experience with Streets of Rage, you already know what song I'm talking about. I'll let it play in 3, 2, 1. Okay. I love this song with a passion. I can literally sit there and listen to the song for an hour straight. It is so freaking good, and probably the greatest Streets of Rage song of all time. And I'm not joking when I say that. It is probably the greatest Streets of Rage song of all time. I love it. Now, first thing you're going to notice right off the bat, all the characters got older. Okay, this takes place a little bit in the future. You know what I'm saying? And the first thing you're going to notice is Axel. You know what I'm saying? He's changed his attire now. He finally upgraded from his old dirty street clothes to a more traditional fighting outfit. Blaze, again, has changed her style all again. But then again, she's older. So, also, funny thing, I actually want to make this a joke. She would be the only person to not reveal. She wouldn't reveal. The joke here is supposed to be, if you notice, her weight has a question mark on it, and it's because she won't tell her weight. And it's, you know, it's a joke because she's a girl, and girls don't like to tell about their weight and things like that. If you know the old fashioned joke. So it's just a joke. So I wanted to highlight that out. Might be a little, a Sega enthusiast fact you might not know. But that being said. Blaze is returning, Skate is returning, and he has got a little bit older, but for the most part, he hasn't changed, and I don't know why. And then we have Zane, the doctor, you know what I'm saying? I don't know why he's here, he's just here, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, we'll go ahead and pick, Axel, Skate, or Zane. I'm not picking Blaze, I don't ever play as Blaze. Blaze is kind of that one forgotten character, like she's only just put in, to be put in, you know what I'm saying? I'll pick Zane. Now, okay, so first thing you're going to notice is the story, they have actual cutscenes this time. Phew, that was close. Another few seconds and boom. Yes, we're lucky we found the bomb. What's our next move, Axel? Well, Zane was right about the bomb. Maybe he's right about the robots too. But I'll have to see it to believe it. Let's try to get a lead from the punks. I'm sorry you don't believe me, Axel, but there's no time to waste. Let's go. Yeah, they don't trust Zane for whatever reason. They don't trust him, but yeah, essentially, I don't understand why this game really didn't need to exist. You know what I'm saying? Streets of Rage, I mean, the first two Streets of Rage games really did serve their purpose. You know what I'm saying? They're really most of the things, if you know, most of the things Sega did was in response to what Nintendo did. Same thing for Nintendo. Most of the things those two companies did in the 16-bit era / handheld era, most of the things they did were really just responses to each other. So like Nintendo had Mario, Sega got Sonic. Nintendo had Final Fight, Sega got Streets of Rage, and so on and so forth. The other two, they would really just only respond to each other. Sega had Puyo Puyo, Nintendo got Kirby's, whatever it's called. You know what I'm saying? So really, they just sat here and responded to each other, and really, that's what the first two games were. But they were really just masterpieces. Streets of Rage 3, on the other hand, is a good game. That's it. It's a good game, sure, but it's not a Streets, and it's certainly not a Streets of Rage 1. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's certainly not Streets of Rage 2. It's definitely a good game, don't get me wrong, but it just feels like the oddball. The odd one out. You know what I'm saying? That one kid that nobody really pays attention to, that, like, just really didn't need to be here. It's like, why are you here? You know what I'm saying? Streets of Rage 3 is like that one kid. Listen, Streets of Rage 3 is like that kid from going to school those kids that you wanted to invite to your birthday party, and you wanted to only invite Streets of Rage 1 and 2, but then your mother or their mother was like, oh, well, if you invite Streets of Rage 1 and 2, you gotta invite Streets of Rage 3 along, and it's like, why? Why? I don't need Streets of Rage 3. It's just here. Why? It's like, it's not a bad game, don't get me wrong. It's perfectly fun, you know what I'm saying? But the music just doesn't feel as good to me, you know what I'm saying? It doesn't sound as good. It looks great, but the characters did take a little bit of a dip in quality, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, it was already a late Genesis release anyway, that I almost feel like this game was almost created just to get an extra buck. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's a good game, but, like, why? Why does it need to be here? You know what I'm saying? Like, I just don't understand. Other than that one track, I don't really enjoy any of the music here. It's good music, you know what I'm saying? It's good to get me through a game, but it's nothing I would want to download onto my phone like I do with Streets of Rage 1 and 2 songs, you know what I'm saying? Besides that one character select song, there's nothing here really worthy of me downloading on my phone. Like, it's literally just Streets of Rage 2, but a little bit dialed down some. I don't really see the need, you know what I'm saying? But you can quote me and say I'm wrong and say Streets of Rage 3 is the best in the series, and I wouldn't be mad at that. It's still your opinion, but it's literally just Streets of Rage 2 again, just a little bit less good. And that's really, like, there's not too much to say here, you know what I'm saying? The gameplay is exactly the same as Streets of Rage 3, you know what I'm saying? Some different music, obviously. What is this? I don't think I've ever seen that before. I didn't know you could do that. I don't think I knew he could do like with a fireball like that. I don't think I've ever seen that. Wow, I guess you learn something new every day. Sega enthusiasts never knew about that. It's so weird. But anyway, yeah, this game is just that one game that just doesn't need to exist. I don't know why. I mean, it exists, sure, fine, but like, who asked for this? You know what I'm saying? Listen, what year is this? What year is this? This is 94, okay? Now, let me say something. The Saturn launched in Japan by this point, probably. You know what I'm saying? Or was about to launch. Why didn't they just... there's nothing wrong with them making Streets of Rage 3, right? But why did they make it for the Genesis? Now, listen. There was nothing, again, wrong with them making Streets of Rage 3 for the Genesis. But why couldn't they make an actual game for the Sega Saturn as a launch title or something? And then maybe just made a downgraded version to the Sega Genesis. Why did this need to be a Genesis exclusive? Like, I don't see the point of it. And again, you can argue I'm wrong, but at the end of the day, I just don't see a point for this game to exist. You know what I'm saying? The story's not as good as Streets of Rage 1 and 2 really at all. The music is a little not as good. The gameplay is exactly the same. You know what I'm saying? The graphics look a little bit better, character-wise, background-wise, they look worse to me. The color is like... it's almost the exact same game as Streets of Rage 3. It's like a ROM hack, essentially. So why did they release this? beats me. I don't know. Maybe one day when we take a look at the Sega history for Streets of Rage 2, we'll figure it out. But as of now, if I had to sit here and rank every one of these games, I'm going to go ahead and rank them out perfectly into the order I think they should go in. Streets of Rage 2, Genesis. Best of them all, period. King. I'd say it's the best. Right, period. Regardless of how anyone feels, Streets of Rage 2 is the best and is up there for one of the greatest games of all time. What I would argue is probably the greatest beat 'em up of all time. You know what I'm saying? Of course, Streets of Rage 4 is up there in that category, but we're not talking about that here. Then you got Streets of Rage 1 for Genesis. It's just a perfect little title. You know what I'm saying? It's perfect. The gameplay is nice. It's great. You know what I'm saying? It's perfectly enjoyable. You know what I'm saying? It's fast paced. It's simple. Anyone can get into it. The music is good and it keeps you in that feeling of wanting to keep playing. Then I'd say Streets of Rage 1 for Master System because it's an awesome little title. You know what I'm saying? Again, it's just like Streets of Rage 1 on Genesis, just that little bit, the characters are just that little bit smaller, the color is there, and in some cases, I would say the color is better in that version. The game is just there. It's a great game, and it's a total 10 out of 10. Then we got Streets of Rage 3, because Streets of Rage 3 is just mediocre. It's not a bad game. It's a good game. It's a good game. Don't confuse my words. Don't try and change my words. It's a good game, okay? It's a good game. I'm not saying it's a bad game. I'm just saying it really didn't need to exist, period. It didn't bring anything new to the table, and if it was going to exist, it should have existed on the Saturn, and maybe just a downgraded port to the Genesis. There's not much here. You know what I'm saying? Streets of Rage, you want the full Streets of Rage experience, just play Streets of Rage 2. This one really doesn't need to be played, in my opinion. I'd still recommend you go out and play it, because it's a mighty fine game. It's just nothing new on the table. Then there's Streets of Rage 2 for Master System. The game is abysmal. The characters are way smaller. The music sucks in that version, man. It's harder. The difficulty sucks. The characters look terrible. The graphics look terrible. It's just a terrible game all around. With that being said, this video is 45 minutes long. That is the complete Sega Slayer Streets of Rage retrospective. I really hope you enjoyed, and I hope you agree with me. You don't have to agree with me, and that's completely fine, but I would ultimately say, for final retrospective thoughts, Streets of Rage was definitely the right move in countering Nintendo when it came to the beat-em-up genre, and created a trilogy of just super awesome games, some of the greatest Genesis games of all time, probably some of the best beat-em-ups of all time, the legendary music, and just an ultimate cult of personality that would continue to go on throughout the 90s, 2000s, and even today. I still see Pine Pot little keychains all over and all that. Streets of Rage was just an iconic series, and with the return of Streets of Rage 4, I'm actually looking forward to maybe Sega doing a few more things with the series in the future, with the popularity and just all-around greatness of that game, you know what I'm saying? So maybe like Streets of Rage The Next Generation or something like that, you know what I'm saying? Something cool like that I would be interested in seeing. I would actually really be interested in seeing a Streets of Rage movie in the art style of Streets of Rage 4. I feel like that would be a good watch, but I'm just giving a good idea, you know what I'm saying? It would have to be in the art style of Streets of Rage 4 to be good. None of that live action crap, because that would just, that would suck, you know what I'm saying? That being said, if you're new here, if you could subscribe, that'd be really awesome. We're trying to reach 200 subscribers, and you'd be helping us out a lot. Make sure to share this video with your friends to become a Super Slayer. I've been the world's coolest Sega enthusiast, SEGASLAYER64. This has been probably one of the longest videos I've ever did that isn't a Let's Play, 46 minutes. And until next time, have a good one, Slayers.